Welcome back, everybody, to another Evil Dead video. A lot of you are wondering what this game feels like to play. Now, I've had hands-on with the beta, and without giving gameplay deets away, I'm going to try to translate to everyone how this game feels in a match and what it's like. And so, jumping right into it, I'm going to be showing gameplay from, again, GameSpot, Game Informer, and Slash and Cast's video, just to kind of glaze over everything and give you the 411 on what does a match feel like to play in this game. Well, starting right off, in the beginning, looting is going to be critical as you start and as you go, constantly becoming more crucial as the match progresses. So as you see Slash and Cast starting off here, everybody's just trying to meet up and loot for things that they're going to need as they move forward. Everybody starts off with nothing unless an ability or skill says otherwise. You start with absolutely zilch. You have to get geared up. If you don't loot, obviously you're going to be very vulnerable to the demon. If you happen to get found, the demon cannot see you in the beginning of a match. All he or she can see are the goals that you're eventually going to be heading towards. Pressure and suspense of the match comes from worrying about your loot, whether the Kandarian demon is attacking you or your team when you're not necessarily ready to fight yet. And then when you do get into a fight, you have to worry about using up ammo, abilities, and as you get into the deeper parts of the match, you're going to be worrying about not only whether you have what it takes yet to stand up to the demon, but you're also struggling with the clock on whether you have time to gear up, loot up, skill up with the pink F, so you'll hopefully be strong enough for the final few battles you'll have to endure. So, summed up, the main pressure and suspense come from looting, the timer, and your demon encounters. And you'll really have to work together as a team to get past a more experienced Kandarian demon. Now, of course, every demon player will be different on how they decide to engage with the survivors, but the general idea of the demon will be to pressure the survivors. You'll want to get them to waste items, use up their abilities, waste their ammo, and distract them into fights to ultimately waste their time. The pressure of time makes survivors consider whether they want to continue looting, which is key for them, or whether they should push the objectives. So there's that you want to make it so they're always having to fight with, should I go loot up? Should I go to the objective? What should I do? You know? And if you can get the survivors to push the objective a lot harder without looting, they may get objectives done faster, but then they'll be too weak to deal with the latter portions of the match. They'll be too weak to handle the Kandarian demon. As for the loot itself, it's never too plentiful in the game. The developers made sure to give the game a very survival action horror kind of feel to it, and the action feels very Evil Dead, is the best way I can describe it, when the demon does decide to attack. Now, when the demon does attack, and you are engaged in battle, there's another layer of pressure to the game that's not really touched on too much, and that's the teamwork. And really keeping track of your character's abilities, what they can and can't do, and what they do best, because that all comes into play in a deep way to help you pull through encounters with the demon. And even more so, an experienced demon. You'll really want to know what you're doing when making decisions, and that pressure comes in the form of having to make good decisions on the fly in and out of battle with the Kandarian demon, but even more so in battle. Beginner players, which is fine, will take all this kind of for granted because they're learning, and they'll just play the game and go. And while you watch a lot of these chaotic gameplays that you've been seeing, and it just looks like a lot of random fighting going on with the demons, because of the survival element of the game, every hit you receive adds just a bit more pressure to you and your team, because now you'll have to worry about not only yourself, but your teammates, as the demon will really start to lay on the pressure as any of you start to go down. When somebody gets downed, it's a big deal. You'll want to get them back up right away. So the more you weigh in on your character's particular skills and abilities, the more you can really hone in on those abilities to keep you and your team from feeling the pressure of losing and keeping everyone in the fight, keeping the morale and confidence high. You'll really want to put consideration on whether you or others need to loot, how you support the team, how much you're leveled up in a match with the pink F, and making good decisions in a match all weigh in on the morale and pressure you're going to feel from beginning to the end of the match. Obviously, the beginning of the match has a lot less pressure than the end of a match, but a lot of what you do in the beginning and the middle of a match will really weigh in on what happens in the later end portions of the match, which is a really cool thing. So now with all this said, you can kind of see how important it is to really kind of hone in on the character you pick, learn them, figure out what their weaknesses and what their strengths are, and really go with that to see how can you help the team that you're playing with. And of course, the big variations comes with players leveling up their characters, the map knowledge that players have, how long they've been playing the game, and then, people just getting in there and getting better at the game. Teams and players learning how to work together, and all that is going to change how a match plays out. And I think that's the strength of this game, is there's going to be a lot of gameplay to be digested when it comes to various team builds, and experimentation in Evil Dead will be one of the most fun aspects of this game. With all that said, you can imagine as they start to release different kinds of maps, all of this stuff is going to change and play out differently, and the way you mingle inside of a match is going to change depending on how they've set up maps in the future. I'm very excited. I hope this helps and makes it make a little more sense of how a match will feel when you jump in on May 13th. I'm excited, you guys. That's about it right there. I'm going to wrap it up. I will see you guys in the next video. I look forward to playing with a lot of you come May 13th. See you later. Bye-bye.